Welcome to the Dad Show podcast. How y'all doing?
Welcome to the Dad Show podcast, a show all about impacting, empowering, inspiring, and uplifting information to become a better dad, husband, man, and mentor. And now your host, Ryan Ladd.
Welcome back to the Dad Show, ladies and gentlemen. I thank y'all for being here, for watching and listening. I've got Mr. JT Tallent in the studio. I wish I could put it on paper, a sign, a board, something, how much I think of this man, how much I love this man. He has truly been a blessing and to our family with everything he does. Anytime we contact him and say, man, will you sing at our event? And he's like, I'm there. Just let me know the date, time. I'll cancel whatever. Absolutely. And I'm there. And that's not just the reason that I think highly of you, man. Just the love, the spirit, the everything that comes out of you is just so amazing and, inspiring. And man, I'm so thankful for our friendship. Absolutely. And for everything that you do, man. It's awesome. So thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. Awesome. And man, I'm really excited about our conversation today and what we got to talk about. So
it's gonna be fun.
So if you don't care, take just a minute, open up, tell people who they're listening to, maybe a little bit about your family, where you grew up, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, my name is JT Tallent. I grew up in Athens, Tennessee, which is like 45 minutes, maybe 50 from here.
And you still live there, right? You still live
No, I actually live in Kingston, but that has been maybe the past 4 years.
Okay.
3.
All right.
I'm really bad with time. It's like 3 or 4 years I've been up here. And before that, we lived in Lenore City just to try to get a little bit closer because my wife still works in Athens.
Okay.
We've been married 11, it'll be 12 years in September.
Wow.
She'll be proud that I remembered that. We have a little
I won't
boy.
ask the date. Don't worry about it.
September 7th, I got it. That one's easy. We've got a little boy just turned 4 in October. He's a mess. His name's Lyric Talent. We took a huge risk naming him Lyric.
Well, if he's anything like his daddy, man.
Yeah, I'm hoping that he's like me and not like his mom. And I love his mom to death, but she is not musically gifted.
Yep.
She can sing every now and again. Sometimes she gets a little crazy. But yeah, so we're hoping that he has some type of musical gene.
Well, you are very talented, so if you passed any of that on to him, man, I'm telling y'all, this guy should have his own record deal. Like, you all need to listen to him, follow him, because it's amazing.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. There's a lot of good musicians, singers that are out there that nobody has any clue about.
That's true. I mean? Oh, wow.
It's a tough industry to make it in. So.
Sometimes you don't want to be in that industry.
Absolutely.
Either, it's better to.
It's actually part of my story. It was a decision that I was going to make.
Wow.
Some things happened where God was like, okay, yeah, let's not do that. Let's move on to something else.
So JT, to give y'all just a little bit of aspect, is the worship leader at the Grove Church here in Kingston, Tennessee. He does do some little side stuff. You still do that?
Every now and again. Most of the time, it's just for you guys, though.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, anytime. I love it. I love you guys. I love your family. I love what you guys stand for. I don't know. I love you guys.
Thank you,
my family.
That's awesome. I appreciate that. So let's get into that background, man. So let's talk about your quick upbringing and childhood, and then we'll move on and get on to what you gave just a little bit of threw some little breadcrumbs out there about what we're going to get into talking about. But so growing up, man, did you grew up in Athens?
Mm-hmm.
And was you in church growing up, or?
I cannot remember a time where I was not in church.
Okay.
The first 15 years of my life, I was going to Hilltop Baptist Church in Riceville, Tennessee, which I don't even think they have a red light. It might be the size of this building. It's very, very small for a town, and but we had a church called Hilltop Baptist Church that I was there. Brother Don Carter was the pastor. He was my first pastor, and he had a huge impact on me as a kid growing up in church. He never shied away from talking to the kids or anything like that. He was a huge help for me.
Yeah.
I love him to death. Started playing music when I was 5. Started out with the drums.
I bet your parents loved that.
They hated it. They got me one of those. It wasn't like a great drum set, but it was a drum set, and I didn't have any drumsticks, so I would go out and I would cut sticks off the trees.
Wow.
And that's what I would use to play the drums with. And we didn't have like a basement at that time to where I was playing, so I had it upstairs where they were. It was not great. It was not great for them. But yeah, I played on my sister's CDs of country music, Trisha Yearwood, Reba McEntire, all that good stuff, which is really weird now thinking about it. But so yeah, we started playing music when I was 5 and 6. Started singing a little bit after that in terms of with my cousin Marla. We had a little 2-man band. My dad played the piano early in life, and then all the way up until he passed. And he had the opportunity to play for Chet Atkins.
Wow.
Before Chet Atkins was actually, Chet Atkins.
Yeah.
Decided not to because he didn't want to play in the bars and stuff like that. He wanted to play in churches and stuff like that. So that decision, I think about that decision that my dad made a long time ago. Like I still even think about it like today.
Yeah.
And he started playing in a band called the Interstate Quartet, and they traveled all around the South, playing gospel music in churches. So yeah, we've been doing music. Our family has been in the music business, if you'd say that, for as long as I can remember.
Yeah. So that's what inspired you.
My dad was a huge inspiration for me, musically.
Yeah.
There was him, and then my cousin Travis Standridge, and then Rick Shattering, the guy that I write music with. It's been a while since we wrote together, but he was also a drummer and kind of got me into wanting to play the drums.
Okay.
And then my cousin, he's a bass player. Never really wanted to play the bass until later on. But he could also play the drums, which I was really into. I love playing the drums.
Yeah.
And my dad was always like, "No, you need to play the piano." I was like, "No, that is boring. That is terrible. Why would I do that?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
the drummer is so much more of a cooler,
they're the superstar.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Not somebody playing a keyboard. What are we doing? You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. Once you get, I'm like very envious of that because I can't carry a tune in a bucket and I can't play an instrument, at all. So that's why whenever I was a DJ, I played off a laptop because that was the only way that anybody was going to listen to the music I was playing.
I got you.
And so, just to think of when I go listen to music now and I see somebody playing the keys, like, that's phenomenal at playing, like I recognize that. And I'm like, that is, that's awesome that they can do that and just, how your fingers work.
So
and
my dad and myself, we have 2 completely different styles. My dad reads music, and he has certain keys that he does not, that he didn't like to play in. You know what I mean? And there were certain rhythms that he struggled with, but he needed the music in front of him for the most part. I can't read music to save my life. I would have a better chance of reading a book written in Chinese than reading like sheet music.
Really? This is
can't do it. We would when he put me into music lessons to actually play the piano, I had 4, 5 different teachers, and they would put the book there, with all the notes. This not crazy notes, just like one note, and then you go with it.
Yeah.
And then I would read it, and I would play it one time, and then I wouldn't need to read it anymore.
Wow. Yeah.
Teachers hated that. Because I would look down to see where I was going because I didn't need the sheet music anymore.
You would remember.
Yes. And I can't explain it. It just kind of happened.
Not that you would remember the notes, but you would remember
I would remember
melody
how the song would go.
Yeah.
And then just play it.
Wow. That's a gift, man.
And then they would smack my hand with the ruler. And it's like, I don't need this. I don't want this.
Yeah.
You're not my mom. Quit spanking me with a ruler.
Yeah.
So I told Dad, I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. And he's like, okay, I'll teach you. That lasted 2 weeks. He taught me for 2 weeks, and he was like, no, He said, if you don't want to play, you don't want to play. And that's when it got to the point where I was like, I want to play. I want to make my dad happy. I want to make him proud.
Yeah.
So I decided to teach myself. So what I did was I just started in every key, same song, until I could play that song without messing up in every single key. And then once I figured out what keys go with what, key that you're in, kind of made it easy.
So did that really, whenever he was trying to teach you and realized, that you don't want to play, like, did he just basically shut down? How did that conversation go? Because
there was a lot of frustration.
Yeah.
Because he's a traditional pianist.
Yeah.
I am not. I don't play a lot of the lead licks or play the melody. I will chord and throw little accents in there. I keep it as simple as possible. Because when I do lead worship, I don't want how I'm playing the keyboard to step over the words in which I'm trying to give to the congregation.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. Take the forefront of
we
it.
need any type of distractions that I could possibly put in there with doing some special run. Maybe I mess up or just the run is just crazy.
Yeah.
I don't want people to break them out of the habit of what they're doing and actually worshiping, to hear that and then they're like thinking, wow, that was really cool. And it kind of breaks what they're at, that connection.
Yeah. And, so I've run the soundboard at church a little bit and help out. And, I try to tell them that, we can have bad sound and nobody's going to hear this message.
Mm-hmm.
Or we can have really good sound and they're going to get the message more clear and better. But there's also that fine line of when you're trying to show out concert-ish, but you want to get it to that energy almost for, to feel the Holy Spirit and really to let loose and allow God in, not, having your arms crossed and sitting there just like, but like you said, there's that fine line of bringing that energy, but not trying to put yourself in the spotlight and forefront to overcome the message that God is bringing through through the words and through the song. So, that's a really, and it's a hard fine line to define.
It can get tricky.
Yeah, at times. And, whenever you start feeling the Holy Spirit, even as a sound guy back in the back in a dark little room, like, I'm dancing, like I'm getting into it. And, so I couldn't imagine being on stage and really playing the instrument and, starting to feel God move would be hard to control. But,
And most of the time when I'm up there, and I'm supposed to be leading the congregation in the worship, but at the same time, I feel like worshiping is something that you have to do, regardless of if you're being led or not.
Yeah.
It's a choice that you make every single day, not just at church for 15, 20 minutes when we're singing. It's not just about singing. It's about how you live your life, what you're putting first in your life. And in those 15 to 20 minutes that we sing on Sunday mornings, it's not a lot of time. If you think about it, 15 to 20 minutes out of a 24-hour day it's not much at all.
No.
And 24 hours go by really quick. Years go by really quick.
Yeah,
It'll be 40 in a month. What is going on?
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where'd it go? So when I'm up there leading, like a lot of times my eyes are closed to eliminate distractions. Not saying that our congregation, please don't hear me say this. Our congregation is not a distraction.
Yeah.
They sing, they worship, they show emotions.
Yeah.
But a lot of times I like to close my eyes because when I'm up there, even though I'm supposed to be leading and I am leading, like it's just me and God.
Yeah.
In that moment.
Yeah. And worshiping with them.
Correct.
Not,
Correct.
like you said, leading them to worship. But I don't want to pass there. You said something really, really strong and powerful right there, that you don't have to be at church, and it's how you lead your life and worship with God every single day.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Like that's such a powerful statement to make, because a lot of people do. They go through Monday through Saturday and they're like, okay, well, it's Sunday, I'm going to church and that's my time of worship, that 1 hour or whatever the case may be, however long you spend at church. But that's my time to worship. And like you said, and such a powerful statement, that's not the case. Like
No.
you spend it every day with God, worshiping with him, no matter where you're at church
Absolutely.
or not, wherever you're at. So
Absolutely.
I didn't want to pass over that.
No,
Over that, man. That's really strong.
It's crazy when you start, if you actually just sit down and you think about all the things that you do throughout the day, like how often we were just talking about reels before we got on, how easy it is just to watch them and just go to the next, go to the next, go to the next.
Yeah.
How much time that actually consumes. You know what I mean?
Even though they're really short,
So short.
but yet you can spend so much time on them.
Absolutely. You give me a good golf reel and I'll just keep going and going and going. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got
And
you.
I'll send it to Tyler because he's terrible. That's the thing that we do.
So growing up in your family, and you know your family's obviously in it for music. You know, y'all are traveling around like you said and doing stuff. Did that almost make you want to divert from that, or did because you can almost get burnt out on stuff by doing it all the time and almost want to take a different route, or did it make you want to? Did it drive you to make you want to do it more?
I'm not gonna lie. There were some churches that we would go to and sing. So the group that we had was Young Praise. It was my sister, me, and all my cousins, and then my dad would play the keyboard until it was like, all right, you take over. So then I started playing. But we would go to churches. We would try to do 2, sometimes 3 bookings on a Sunday every month.
Wow.
There were some churches that were like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Why
Because of the energy or just their attitude or
the energy, they just seemed like they hated it because we started out like Southern gospel stuff.
yeah.
And then when I started, we started adding a little bit more of the contemporary, worship type stuff. And a lot of the churches that we would go to, they weren't ready for that.
Yeah. Or they just don't like the change. Like,
correct.
I think about the church I grew up in, and my grandfather, I went to a men's breakfast with him the other day, and this is so funny, and I don't want to go off on this rabbit hole, but a younger worship leader came up and asked my grandfather's best friend, hey, you want to sing in the choir today? And he said, if you're going to sing them new hymns, I ain't going to sing, but if you want to sing them old ones, the old classical, I'll get up there and sing. And, you know, I mean, we're talking 2025 now, you know what I mean? So people still not wanting to, and there's nothing wrong with the old hymns.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with that. But I think of worshiping and learning the Bible and all that, like just as you are in school. Everybody doesn't learn the same way. Nobody feels it the same way.
Absolutely.
It has to be all these different aspects. So
Nobody worships the same.
yeah, exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with the old songs. And a lot of the problems that people have with the new stuff, they say it's not biblical.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's some old hymns that are out there, theology wise. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree.
So, okay, if you don't like the ones that don't have a strong biblical statement in it,
Yeah.
don't sing those songs. Don't sing them. But don't group that song with all the other ones.
Yeah.
That are like, how great is our God? Okay, is he great or is he not?
Yeah.
If you can't worship to that,
Yeah.
then there's something wrong here. Whether you're just strictly a hymn guy, hymn woman, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you can't worship, how great is our God?
I agree.
It's a heart problem.
I agree. But that's a whole mental and
Absolutely.
prideful issue that we could probably go down for days on. So
there were churches that we would go to that are like, I don't know why we're doing this. They hated every second of that. And then there were some churches who were like, this is why we do it.
yeah.
This is why we do it.
Yeah. But there was probably, the churches that you did go to that they didn't like and you didn't like being there just because the energy wasn't correct.
Yeah.
There was somebody there that God needed, to hear that message, to hear that song. And so it was for a reason.
No,
it
bro,
was,
we never charged. We didn't charge. If you want to give a love offering, you could.
Yeah.
We had no fee whatsoever. We did not get paid to do any of this. We just enjoyed music. That's what we do. And we wanted to go sing. And that was our ministry.
Wow.
And there would be times where we'd go to churches and they were just like this, arms crossed the whole time. Showed no emotion. And then by the time the love offering would come, it showed how much they actually enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You're not going to pay for something that you didn't enjoy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're like, I don't understand any of this. What just happened?
Yeah.
So yeah, there was times where it would be discouraging,
Mm-hmm.
and you were like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. And then there's times where like, yeah, this is fantastic. I want to do more of this. I want to do more of this.
So let's switch gears a little bit and get into what you kind of gave a little breadcrumbs on earlier, of your decision to either stay in, I'm assuming is where we're going, stay in the gospel realm or try to pursue a music career in the music industry.
Yeah. My wife and I were married 11 years ago, and I think we were within a year and a half, something like that, of being married. At that time, I was working at Marvin Pest Control, killing bugs. Hated every second of it. Every second of it.
Yeah, I would imagine.
For those that are in like the bug killing business,
yeah,
kudos to you. Many crowns are waiting you. You know what I mean? I couldn't do it again. It was terrible.
Wow.
Love my boss and love the people that I worked with. I just did not like crawling underneath houses. That is for the birds.
I could spray for the bugs, but whenever you getting calling for snakes and stuff like that, and I'm out, dude.
Did not like it at all. But there was a moment where I was talking to a guy in Nashville, and I was thinking about making the move with my wife. We didn't have lyric at the time. And I was like, we're just going to move to Nashville. I'm going for it.
Yeah.
I already had the songs for my EP written and ready to go. And it was going to be a Christian album. I wasn't going to stray away from, what I believe. I believe in singing songs that have eternal value.
Yeah.
I love country music. I love pop. I don't listen to rap as much anymore. It's changed so much, but like you give me some old school rap.
Yeah.
I'll listen to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Me too.
Rock and roll. I love music.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to use the talents that God gave me, other than singing songs that have eternal value.
Yeah. For him.
For the most part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or I'll sing a love song and, in my head, I'm singing it to my wife, regardless or anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was going to make the move to Nashville. I had everything lined up, sessions already, scheduled. Everything was paid for, good to go. And then that's when my father found out that he had lung cancer. Wrecked my whole world, changed everything. This is the guy that helped mold me to who I am, today, as a father, as a husband, and as a musician. I wouldn't be where I am today without him.
Yeah.
So whenever he had cancer, I was talking to my guy and I was like, I can't do this right now. We're going to have to put this off. And what's kind of crazy about it is the last 2 weeks prior to that, I had been leading worship at two different churches. One was on a Sunday morning and the other one was on a Wednesday night. And it felt good. You know what I mean? Like It was just me and the guitar, and like it felt right. And I can't. It was almost as if God was like,
yeah,
it's not in Nashville, bro.
Yeah.
It's here.
Yeah.
Doing what I've given you the ability to do in a church.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it felt like. And then Drew Stockton was working at the Grove at the time, who was also the pastor, the youth pastor at East Sonali, where I met my wife. And he gave me another opportunity to lead worship there for their youth on Wednesday nights. He called me. I hadn't talked to him in maybe 2.5 years. And he said, "Hey, do you still lead worship?" I was like, "I do." He said, "Would you like to lead worship for our youth for a week at Ocoee or Utanonochi, something like that. It's in Cleveland. I get those. I get those mixed up. It's one camp. I was there for a week, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. And so I was like, let's go check out the Grove before we go on this little trip, just kind of get a feel for what's happening.
Yeah.
Fell in love with it. Can still remember what Philip preached on. He was like, what's your story? I remember the first person that came up and shook my hand, and the second person, Mike Neal and Paul Franco, were the first two people that come up and shake my hand and welcome me to them. Love those guys with all of my heart.
Wow.
They're actually in the worship band for a long time. Incredibly faithful. Love those dudes. And I remember on the way home after the service, where my wife and I, we were driving back to Athens because we lived in Athens at the time. I don't think we said 2 words. It was like an hour back home. We might have said 2 words to each other. And we knew that this is where God wanted us to be at. So I said all that, to kind of say this, like, there's things that happen in your life that you don't understand. Maybe you have plans for something and it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
And you're bummed. You're like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
It's for the best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, almost 10 years later, still there, full-time job, working at the church, doing exactly what I love. There was a time where I appreciate you. Thank you. There was a time where I wanted to be the next big thing in Nashville. But that time is gone. I'm not interested in anything, but just getting, his word out, singing stuff that moves people to want to be closer to God, and just stuff that has value. You know what I mean?
So I don't want to rush through what you just said, but I want to go back to the initial beginning of that whenever you're talking about your dad. Because I could see it in your eyes, I could see it in your emotions, in your face, man, that, you said that he molded you into the husband you are today, molded you into the dad you are today. So I kind of want to touch on those a little bit. It is the dad show, it's the meaning of that. But how did he mold you into those? Like, give me a couple of examples of how he was a really good father to you, maybe how he was a really good husband to your mom. Like, how was those examples set for you?
So there's a couple different ways that he did all of that. One, he never missed any athletic event that I had. If he did, there was a extremely good reason for it.
Yeah.
Not just like, I'm tired, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to go play golf or something like that.
Yeah.
He worked a lot, worked very hard. He never, when I say this, he said no, but like he never said no on the things that really mattered, that he needed to really say no on. There was many times where he could have said, come home from work, mow the yard. Then he would just sit on the recliner and be like, hey, can we go throw baseball? Yeah. There's so many times he could have said no.
Yeah.
And he never would. And I would literally pitch a whole game to him.
Yeah.
Until he just couldn't do it anymore. He never told me no on the things that he knew were important to me.
Yeah. Being present with
correct.
you.
He's
Spending
very much present.
Yeah.
He treated my mother with respect. The only thing that he did not do that I have changed and I do with my wife is wherever she goes, I go.
Yeah.
My dad hated shopping with a passion.
Yeah.
So a lot of times my mom would either go by herself or she would find somebody else to go with.
Yeah. Take a friend or something like that.
That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Everything else, he was spot on. Spot on. He made us go to church. He was a man of faith, and he lived, what he preached.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
He served in the church. He played the piano for the church everywhere he went. I've been a member of 3 churches. My dad he might have been a member more than that, but from when I was alive, it was 3 churches that we all went to. Hilltop, then Calvary, and then which was also in Riceville and then the Grove. And he played the piano for the choir and for any kind of special that people wanted.
Yeah.
Back in the day, those two churches, we had specials. So anybody that wanted to sing, they could get up and sing. Just the example, the life that he lived, the walk that he had with God was incredible.
Wow.
It was
Sounds
incredible.
like a great guy, man.
He was a fantastic human being.
Yeah.
Fantastic human being.
It's so funny. Every podcast that I've done, that same concept of being present comes up.
It's huge.
And
It's huge.
I made a post on social media the other day about, what makes you a good dad?
Yeah.
Like, what do you do that makes you a good dad? And I would dare to say that probably 75% of the comments out of, I don't know how many hundreds, was just being there and showing up and being present.
Yeah.
My return to that is our presence is our kids' present.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they want. They don't.
Absolutely.
I spend so much time running around working my tail off, trying to make extra money to provide my kids this and do this and all that, when all that is taking away from what they really want.
Absolutely.
They don't care about the money. They don't care about the presents.
Mm-mm.
They don't care about material things or, what they just want to be with their mom and they want to be with their dad. And dude, I think that is so awesome that you go with your wife, basically everywhere.
Sometimes it's awful. Like Hobby Lobby, it's the worst store ever.
I agree, and I
Worst.
do. And my wife, I don't know how yours is, but man, if we're going to Knoxville, because we live here in Roane County, like, we're not just going to Hobby Lobby and coming back home. Like, while we're in Knoxville, we're going to knock out this, and this, and this, and this.
Marshall's is a frequent stop. My wife loves some Marshalls. You got Target, Old Navy, all that good stuff. Chick-fil-A.
But being there, or Longhorn, like we sing y'all Longhorn.
Oh gosh, yeah, Longhorn. We will kill some Longhorn. So good.
But
Spicy chicken bites.
Shoot, they were good. That was the first time I'd got them.
Fantastic,
They
man.
were really good.
Fantastic.
So shout out to Longhorn. For
Absolutely.
your
Absolutely.
but no, that time with your wife, man. I
Mhm.
mean, it's just like your kids, dude. Or your kid, but
Yeah.
my kids, like, it don't matter what we're doing as long as we're together. And us dads, I say this a lot too. Like, us dads want to fix things. Our wife brings us stuff, or our kids bring us stuff. Like, we're just wanting to get to the bottom of it. Like, how can I fix this? How can I correct this? How
Yeah.
can I make this better for you? And sometimes you don't need to do that. Sometimes you just need to listen. Sometimes you just need to be present.
Yeah.
And it comes up every single podcast. Like, put your phone down,
Mm-hmm.
get home from work, and like your dad did for you, no matter how tired he is, no matter how bad of a day, spend the
Yeah.
time, because it's going to be gone.
Absolutely. One of the last things that he said to me before he passed away was it was crazy to me that this was what he felt. He's like, I wish I would have been a better father. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that every father probably feels that way at some point.
Yeah.
But I literally, I don't know how he could have been. I never knew that we were broke.
Yeah.
Never knew it. There was nothing that he, in my mind, could have done better to raise me, to teach me how to be, a man,
Yeah.
and how to love my wife, my kid. So I think about him telling me that often, especially like in the younger years of Lyric's life. He's 4, he'll be 5,
Yeah.
starting school,
Yeah.
which is stupid.
It's insane.
Like, this is the best time.
Yeah.
Where he's with me all the time. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna get this back.
Exactly. Yeah.
So like, I want to try to make every moment with him, every moment with my wife, memorable,
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah.
I want it to leave an impact for him. I want him to have the same opinion of me as that I had of my father. You know what I mean? So it's just a mindset of just making sure that one day, like, your time's up, and I don't want to look back and be like, man,
Wish I'd
I
spent more
wasted
time.
it.
Yeah.
I wasted it.
And that's huge. 'Cause my issue is the phone. Like we talked about, like, scrolling through reels or handling questions or emails about the podcast, about the foundation. And so that's one thing that I really try to start doing. And I still fail at it constantly whenever I come home, like put the phone in another room, turn it on silent. And, I'm going to spend time with them and be present with them. 'Cause the same exact thing. I don't want my kids saying my dad didn't spend time with me. My dad was on his phone all the time, Like my dad was at work all the time. He was providing. Yeah. Like I know now, and he's still living today, but he was at work. He was providing. Yeah. My grandfather, who was retired, was 110% a kingdom man. Like had grace for days. That's who my rock was. That's who I went to, and that's who I spent my time with. And so unfortunately, my dad was out trying to provide for our family, which is very credible, but at the same time, don't let your, what you're doing take away from what you really want to spend time with. So
absolutely,
that's huge. So you take a lot of time and spend with Lyric today because of your dad's upbringing of how you were brought up and spend that time together. So what's Lyric like to do, man? What's some things he loves to do?
Gosh, what does he not like to do? Right now, he's into whoopee cushions. So for a good 20, 25 minutes last night, I had to, and it's not like a small one, it's a massive one.
I've never seen one that's not bigger than.
Oh my gosh, it takes forever to blow it up. It's awful. I get lightheaded so quick because I'm almost 40. So I'll blow it up and I'll put it on the couch, and for some reason he likes to get right behind me, trip me, and then I have to fall on the whoopee cushion. And he'll do that. He'll do it as long as I let him. As long as I let him. He likes to FaceTime people. He will FaceTime anybody at any moment. And he knows how to, which is terrifying.
Did he do what?
It's he knows how to just FaceTime anybody randomly. He knows to call somebody, and then he knows what button to press. It's terrifying. He's 4 years old and shouldn't know how to do that.
I might have to get him with Kennedy and Lincoln because they love to do that too.
Oh my goodness. He'll do it. And he just likes to put stuff like on his face where it changes him blanket down for a koala. Let's see what he likes outside all the time. If he could live outside, he would.
Yeah.
He finally starts eating chicken nuggets from McDonald's. It's the only meat he eats. We were worried that he was going to be vegan. But he loves everything that little boy loves.
Yeah.
He loves his mama way more than me.
I've got that 100%.
But there's times where he's a daddy's boy, and I love it. But above his mom and his daddy's a Gigi's boy, and that's my sister.
Okay.
Because she never tells him no. Ever. Whatever he wants,
he gets.
He gets at Gigi and Mimi's house. And he's over at their house Monday through Thursdays.
Okay.
So he's there.
Spoiled all week.
He's with them more so than he is with me and my wife.
Wow. So you're going to have it rough.
Oh my gosh. So I just keep telling myself, it's like, we waited 7 years for him. So we're just going to let him do his thing.
Yeah. Do you think you'll have more kids?
So I don't know if you actually know the whole story with, how we got Lyric. We had to do IVF.
Okay.
When we got married, we wanted to start having kids immediately because my parents were on the older side.
Yeah.
They were 40 when they had me.
Okay.
My dad was 43.
Wow.
So when we got married, it was like, I want my son, daughter to experience my father.
Yeah.
And my mother.
Yeah.
And we kept trying. We kept going to doctors and stuff like that. Nothing was successful. So then we turned to IVF, and the plan was always have two, a boy and a girl.
Yeah.
Boy first, girl second. Boy can protect the girl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was the plan. And with IVF, you get 3 chances. You pay for each one, but the price continues, to go down for the meds and stuff like that. That may have changed now. I have no idea. So don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
But we went in there. IVF is incredibly stressful. There's a lot of needles.
I don't know much about it, and I haven't been through it. So Yeah.
I would have, I would have to give my wife the shot, like in her stomach, in her hip, stuff like that. And I remember the first time that I gave her the shot, like I was laughing and crying at the same time. I had no idea like what emotion I was feeling. It was just kind of all happening.
Yeah.
I was like, did I hurt you? Are you okay? But it was incredibly stressful. It put a lot of strain on our marriage for a while because of the impatience that we had. When you want something, like we were talking about the reels, like if you're done with that one, you can swap on to the next one. You can search what you want to look for.
Yeah.
When you wait 7 years for something that you really, really want, it's tough.
Yep.
It makes you question things.
That's where my mind's going. How did you keep your faith? Because obviously you're a Christian and you're trying to live and do the correct things for the Lord. So
Philip asked me that same question. How were you able to, get up here and worship and lead worship in a place of, brokenness or in a place of where you don't feel like doing it?
So to set the setting, you are the worship leader at this time.
I'm the worship pastor at the Grove Church during this time.
All right.
We started a T-shirt campaign to help raise money for IVF.
Yep.
After every false pregnancy or unsuccessful pregnancy, that next Sunday we're up there, we're leading. At the same time, my dad's going through cancer.
Oh my gosh, man.
There was times where I was up on stage. I'm like, I do not want to be here.
Yeah.
I do not want to be here.
Yeah.
I won't say that I questioned my belief, but I did question on why there were other people getting pregnant, why there were other families having success. What was the issue? What do I need to do? And I don't know this for 100% fact, but I think my wife and I's focus was so much on starting the family on our time frame.
Mm-hmm.
And not letting God do what he does best, which is work things out for the good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's huge.
And there's a song that we're singing this Sunday, and it wrecked me this week. The Lord will provide. Seek first the kingdom and his treasure. Everything else will be added.
Yeah.
I don't think our eyes were focused on God. I can't speak for my wife, but I know for me, my main focus was I've got to have a kid before my dad.
Almost, taking time.
You know what I mean? I was like, I don't have a ton of time left. We knew that he already had half of a lung cut out, and then cancer came back in the other lung.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where that had all my focus, which is human.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's times I would lead on Sunday and I'm like, I do not want to be here.
Yeah.
I do not want to sing this song.
Well, rightfully so, man. I mean, that's you're going through a storm with your dad. And then, even though you and your wife are good in your marriage aspect, like that's what you want, and so.
And my prayer the whole time was like, God, please let me have a kid that I can share with my father.
Yeah.
Let him have time with him. I want him to be able to know him.
Yeah.
He got 6 months with him. We finally got pregnant with IVF. We had 12 embryos, but only one was viable. And since the pregnancy was a success, the other 2 tries that we were guaranteed if the pregnancy was a failure went out the door. So we ended up with just one, and it was Lyric. All the doctor's appointments, I was terrified. I was like, this has got to work.
Yeah.
Like it's got to work. I don't know if I can do the whole process all over again.
Yeah. Golly, man, the stress. I can't.
Finally, we got to the point where, it was Labor Day. Not the actual Labor Day, but the day where we're actually going to have play match.
Not the holiday.
Absolutely, but not the holiday. We were there and it was scheduled, and she comes in there and she breaks Chelsea's water. And she said that she couldn't find the heartbeat anymore. And she did a good job of keeping us calm in that moment. The nurses did not, because once she left, there was like 15 nurses that came in there, got me ready. They already took her out there for an emergency C-section.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, there's no way you're going to bring me this far.
Yeah.
And then just kind of cut it off.
Yeah.
Like there's no way. So I get in there.
That's
and
what was going through your head.
Oh
at
my
this
gosh. I
moment
was thinking, surely this isn't how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
There's no way this is going to,
Yeah.
it can't happen this way. So we get in there into the delivery room and they're already starting and they ask me, like, do you want to watch? I was like, no, you focus. No, if I watch, you're going to have 2 patients in here. So like, cut her open and, I can still remember hearing him cry for the first time. I broke down, just broke down. And for a split second, once I realized that he was good and that Chastity was good, I was like, God is so faithful.
Yeah.
And he will always provide. Regardless if it's on your timeline.
And most of the time it's not.
Absolutely. There's another song, Worthy of It All by Feel Welcome. I like to correlate songs with everyday living.
Yeah.
And there's a part in the bridge where it says, whether you say yes or no, or just wait. Yeah. You're worthy. I don't know why we were in a wait and no top section of our life for that 7 years. And I've also asked myself, like, if I was more specific with my prayer, like, instead of just asking for time with my dad and Lyric to have, if I would have asked for 10 years, if God would have given me 10 years, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stuff like that goes in my head all the time.
From my aspect, I don't think so.
No,
you know what I mean?
I agree.
Like,
I think it's just the devil playing the games with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Trying to get in your head and
Absolutely.
doubt and do everything else. So he's the ultimate deceiver. So,
Mhm.
but I'm not God. I don't have that
Absolutely.
true answer.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, from my aspect, no.
Yeah, but he, everything works in his time. And if it hadn't been for the Grove and the T-shirts and the unbelievable outpour of support and donations, from people in our church, Lyric wouldn't be here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's to the congregation of the Grove and this community that helped. No, I appreciate you. You know what I mean? It's it's one of those things where when you try to do everything on your own, instead of just letting God do what it does.
Yeah.
So
Trying to follow him. Like,
absolutely.
you had almost, God was probably laughing like, no, God, this is my plan. Like, this is when I need my child to arrive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the saying that if you want to make God laugh, you tell him your plans.
Absolutely.
Like, you give him your timeline of when this is going to happen. And God's like, no, it's going to happen on my time. And dude, it's so beautiful. And I don't know if there's any pieces of your story that you can pick out like this, but like, I think of the journey through our medical journey through our kids and stuff of that nature. I'm at the front of it. And when I'm going through it, I'm like, no, why is this happening? Like, almost like you were questioning at the end there, like, you're not going to bring me this far and then take it all away from me, But once you're on the other side of it, to see that it was a perfectly orchestrated story to build up at times, to break you down at times, to build you up stronger for this. But when you get to the end of it, you're like, thank you, God. You know what I mean? Like, thank you for not giving me this, or thank you for giving me, or making me go through this. I think of it, and I don't want to go down this hole, but had a podcast a few weeks ago with a guy named Tristan Greth. And he made the statement, I don't remember what we were talking about it, but he made the statement of, it's like the dad walking into the child's room at night. The child's got a device on his leg, and the dad has to come in every night and tighten it up to stretch the leg, to make it straighter, to make it stronger. And when he comes in there, the child's like, no, Daddy, not tonight. Please, not tonight. Any night, but not tonight. It hurts too much. And dude, when he said that, it hit me. I was like, that's what I do to my kids every night. Or every day. We got to go through this surgery. We got to go to this doctor's appointment. We got to go through this therapy. We got to make you stronger for what's to come. And then I was like, that's God, man. I'm that child laying in the bed with the device on my leg saying, no, Daddy, not tonight. I don't want to have to go to work tomorrow. I don't want to be putting my daughter through this surgery. I don't want to have this argument, like all this stuff. And that's God saying, you've got to go through it to build you up for what's to come. And so since that day, since that conversation, something bad happens, like usually you get broke down, you get mad, but I'm like, thank you, God, for that, because you're building me up for something, and my whole attitude has changed. So like I said, I don't know if there's something in your story that you've seen through this whole 7 years that you all were waiting for beautiful Lyric to come into this world, and you were fighting and you were battling in your marriage. And, I don't know what the beauty on the other side of it is, but I hope there was some things that you were able to see, like, thank you, God, for that. Thank you for making us wait. Thank you for this trial that we went through. Like, I don't know if there was something.
Yeah. So I don't know much about working out. Obviously, as you can tell, I don't hit the gym very often, but like, you got to tear your muscle for it to grow. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's, I've questioned why God didn't give Lyric to us sooner. I've come to the realization that to go through the hard time that we had when my father passed, Lyric was an absolute blessing and came at the perfect time. Because he was a joy that replaced the hurt that we had in that moment.
Yeah.
So looking back on it now, I feel with all my heart that, God had it planned. We're going to give you some time. We're going to give Lyric some time with your father.
Yeah.
We're going to give your father some time with Lyric. I did this to help you get through what you're fixing to go through.
Wow.
Because he knows what we're fixing to go through. He holds tomorrow, not us.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why it's crazy when we just start questioning, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's like, bro, like if he could just talk to us like straight out, like me and you're like, bro, just stop.
Yeah.
I've got this.
Yeah.
I know what's fixing to happen. You're going to need what I'm giving you now to get you through what's coming next.
Wow. That's so strong, man.
No, I think Lyric was a great example of that.
Yeah.
At that right moment.
From my aspect, like I haven't heard God's audible voice.
Correct.
Everything kind of comes in thoughts, and then I try to decipher whether that's mine or his thoughts. And, like, wouldn't it be so awesome if he could sit here and be like, JT, like, dude,
that's it.
Just hold on.
Yeah.
I've got this. And that I say that, but now that I'm talking through it, we've got that reassurance.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't need him to sit here and tell it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm almost laughing at myself now because we've got the reassurance. Mm-hmm. We don't have to have that audible voice or that person sitting in front of us. I've got this, man.
100% right.
Like, yeah.
You're 100% right.
I feel so stupid now that I'm saying that.
Well, I mean, it's crazy to think about, but like, if you go back to when Jesus was walking on earth, there was people that didn't believe, and they actually got to witness the things that he was doing.
Yeah, that's so true.
So it's only, human for us to have those questions, even though we know the truth and we've seen him provide for us. We've seen him move in our lives time and time again. It's crazy that we still question his motive or question his timing, his purpose for us. Hopefully, I'm hoping at some point I can be less like, never have to question it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The human part's always going to be there.
It is. And, that's the devil deceiving.
Absolutely.
And putting those thoughts into our head, and or us allowing him into our head to doubt, God's grace, God's power, God's timing. And we want to question it. We get greedy. We want it on our time frame. So let's switch up and talk about your wife for a little bit, man. Like, how did you all meet?
So we were first time I ever met her was at East Denali Baptist Church. It was during a Christmas program practice. I had to sing one of the songs that I wrote for the Christmas program, and she was there. And I noticed her immediately. First thing that she ever said was, I like your voice. First thing. But she also made it known that if I didn't have good teeth, that we would have never made it.
Yeah.
So thankful for the teeth.
Yeah.
But it was at a Christmas program with at East Denali Baptist Church. Just kind of slowly took off from there.
Wow.
We dated for almost 4 years before she was like, listen, either you're going to marry me or you're not. But if you're not, tell me now.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Don't give me no ultimatum.
I don't need that. We argued so much when we were dating.
Really?
So much. And it was like once we got engaged and then got married, it all went away.
Usually it's vice versa.
It was the weirdest thing in the world. The weirdest thing in the world. I mean, we'd fight over stupid stuff. Stupid stuff. She punched a car one time. About broke her hand.
Wow.
I don't even remember what that was about.
Chastity, we're going to send you some anger management classes.
She's done so much better. She's done so much better.
No more punching cars.
No, she hadn't punched a car in a long time. A long time. I'm pretty sure I did something stupid though. Although I'm going to be 40, I'm not very mature for my age.
Yeah.
She's very mature for her age, and she was mature back then too. I think it's one of those things that I've accepted, that I'm not going to be very mature at any age that I get to. So,
but you'll have more fun with Lyric that way, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. She's a fantastic mother, fantastic wife. She's very supportive in whatever I do. She's supportive in the music that I make. She's supportive in the music that I sing. Anytime that I'm singing anywhere, if she's not working, she's there. Yeah. She's one of those people that she's not going to be up front in anything. She does not like to be seen.
Yeah.
In terms of being the main attraction, if that makes sense.
No, I got you. She don't want spotlight.
But she will do anything that you want in the background.
Yeah.
And she is supportive in that way. She's very dependable. She's faithful. I can't tell you how much of a blessing it is to know that I don't have to worry about her going off and finding somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
it's very, it's a blessing. She works at Sharon Brown State Farm in Athens, and she is currently trying to become an agent as well. So she's doing all that schoolwork, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, she's excited about it.
How much better does it make you feel knowing that no matter what, your wife's supportive of you 100%?
It gives you, it's almost like a free pass, if that makes sense. Like you can mess up and okay, let's don't do that again. We can do, just like our church, we have a philosophy. We'll try anything once.
Yeah.
If it works, it works. If it doesn't, we'll scrap it. So musically, she's always been supportive. Any idea that I've had, she's like, yeah, you should do that. Even if she thinks it's probably a bad idea, she's like, yeah. She kind of wants you to figure that out on your own. And I've had those. I've had
a lot of them. Yeah.
Too many to count. Too many to count.
But that's huge though. Like and I want to speak to, the people that are listening right now. Like if you have a spouse, or even you take this as a parent-child aspect, like show support.
Absolutely.
Push, even like you said, even you don't think it's a good idea, or, maybe you don't think it's going to work out. Like maybe they do have to figure that out by themselves. But your support, right. Like if you're negative and say that's not going to work, I'm not going to be behind you, it's going to fail. 9 times out of 10, you may have that anomaly that pursues it and does it, but the support of a spouse is huge, man.
Huge.
It's so big. And
when you're not out there like on an island by yourself,
and
you can have somebody you can confide in, take advice from, whether you choose to accept that advice or not.
Yeah.
Just hearing somebody else's perspective that actually has your best interest at heart.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah. It can take you from 65 to 75%.
1,000%.
With the support of them all the way to 100 or more.
1,000%.
Yeah. I mean, that's, That's really, really big that she does that for you.
And I try to be that way for her
Yeah.
as well, especially when she's going through the agency classes and stuff like that, taking the tests and stuff like that. Trying to give her time to study at home. Me and Lyric will go in the back room, wrestle, whatever we got to do to keep her, kind of give her some peace and quiet so she can study and stuff like that. So I try to be as supportive as she is of me and my endeavors, because I know that's the right thing to do. And I love her. And if I love her, I should want what's best for her and what she wants.
Yes.
So
instead of being greedy and selfish
absolutely.
and, like, no, this is the way I'm going to do it. And
Absolutely.
yeah, no, that's huge. That's huge. I ask this question on every podcast, I think. You take your car in for maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
You go get the tires checked, oil changed, all the above to keep your car running smooth. What's some things that you do to maintenance your marriage, to check in, to make sure that your marriage is running smooth? Is there anything that you and your wife do to?
Oh gosh, we don't necessarily have the date nights that we used to.
Mm-hmm.
We do, however, find shows that we like to watch. So Lyric sleeps in the bed with us. I know a lot of people frown on that. I absolutely love it. He's the best cuddle bug in the world. So when we get him to sleep, like we'll go in there and we'll have, time where we can just catch up.
Yeah.
And we'll watch shows. I think the main thing that we do to keep ourselves from kind of getting burnt out is we continue to pray together. In terms of activities, we take Lyric everywhere. If we go outside, we go to Mimi's Jungle Gym in Athens, we go to Jump Gym. Yeah. We do everything together as a family. I don't even know if that's the answer that you're looking for, if I'm even answering the question. But I know, like, for like the sake of mine and Chastity's marriage, we complement each other in terms of, like, I know what she needs, she knows what I need, and we kind of meet in the middle and we do that.
Yeah. Is the communication there, or you just know it?
There's a lot of times where we don't have to communicate.
Yeah.
And it's been tough since she's started, the agency stuff. Like, she doesn't have a ton of time. She works 9 to 5. Then she's got an hour drive home.
Yeah.
So she gets home a little after 6. We try to get Lyric starting to wind down from 8 to 9. That doesn't always work.
Yeah.
But trying to get her some study time in there is tough. When she has that much time to drive to work, then drive back home.
Yeah.
We did go watch the new Sonic movie, Sonic 3.
Oh yeah.
We did watch it in theaters. That was 2 weeks ago. We used to try to do that all the time, but we were terrified with Lyric.
Yeah. About him being quiet and the theater.
And we bowl on Tuesday nights. So they're like just small stuff like that that we do to try to make sure we're on the same page. And if things start to get hairy, then like she'll let me know.
That's kind of like how Allie and I are. We don't really, I overly communicate stuff, but she doesn't hardly communicate at all. And so our communication is a little broken between us, but for the most part, we're like exactly like you all. We know, we can sense what the other person needs, and we need to jump in and take care of that and really nurture that. And
yeah, I can tell when she's in a mood.
Yeah.
Or just kind of let her be. You know what I mean? So in those moments, this is 100% true. In those moments, I'll just go kiss her on the cheek, love you, and I'll just go as far as I can.
You scurry,
away, you know what I mean? Until she's good again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a good system. We don't ag each other on.
Yeah.
When we know one of us is having a bad day, we'll ask them, like, you okay?
Yeah.
And that's it. If it's yes, I'm good, even though you know that they're not.
Yeah.
She's one of those people that, like, if she wants to talk about it, she's going to talk about it. If she doesn't, stop. Just stop.
Yeah.
It's better for your health if you just stop. So, then that didn't used to always be the case. I would always ag on and ag on.
Yeah.
So
Which is probably some of the small fights whenever y'all are dating. And,
absolutely.
Yeah.
You live and you learn. You live and learn.
It's amazing how you mature that way.
Isn't it? That's crazy. It's crazy. I couldn't tell you the last time we've actually had like a fight. I couldn't tell you last time. It's been a minute.
That's the same with Allie. Like I'm the same way. Like where I work 24-hour shifts at the fire station, when I'm on the phone with her, I can sense when that aggravation or like you said, that time, and I'm like, just call me back later.
Yeah.
You know, just, I'm not going to say, well, you're being this way, so don't talk to me right now. You know, no, just call me back later. I love you, babe.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be back. So yeah, 100% to just let them, and every relationship's different.
Absolutely.
You know, it's not going to be handled the same way, but yeah, just let them have their space and figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife is that, I don't know if Chastity's the same way, but, overanalyze, stress out. Like that's how Allie is. And so
stress and anxiety are a real thing.
Yes, they are.
In the Tallent household.
Yeah.
She's, of course she works in insurance, so she doesn't always get pleasant customers. So that plays into the whole stress and having a bad day and stuff like that. So I try to make it a point to where I'm not another bad customer.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want her to have a bad experience with me when she first comes home from a bad day of work. I want to try to be that person that lifts her up. Clean the house, do the laundry. I try to do all that before she gets home from work. Because my job is not as stressful as hers.
Yeah.
Now there's times where it can get crazy, and it can get stressful. But for the most part, I don't have to deal with people that I don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I get to do what I love, what I was literally called to do, what I was made on this earth to do. My purpose in life is to do music, but not only do music, but do it in a way that uplifts God, to worship.
Yeah.
Fully believe that I'm in the right place at the right time. And it's incredibly satisfying to know that you're where God wants you to be, and where you're supposed to be. So I want to do whatever I can to help Chastity out whenever she comes home.
Yeah.
For those short 4 hours that she stays up when she gets home to go to bed, I want her to have some time with Lyric, for one.
Yeah.
And not to worry about cleaning the house or doing the laundry. I've got it on a pretty good schedule right now. We'll see how long I can keep it up. But yeah, it's, I just try to be there for her, man.
And you know, like I do the same thing. So I do laundry, I do the dishes, and you know, especially being at the fire station, man, I get a lot of kickback. Like, hey man, why don't you go out with the guys? Or, you know, why do you clean the house? You know, that's the quote unquote woman's part to do.
Yeah.
And man, it's 110% just being the support. You know, like for one, I love being with my kids and my wife a whole lot more than I like going out and hanging out with the guys. Like I'll choose that every day, all day. And then number two, like for one, I don't want a dirty house, but you know, if she's busy and like you said, anxiety and stress and all that with everything that's going on, why wouldn't I jump in and help? Like it's just as much my job as it is her job.
Yeah.
You know, to me, that's valuable to hear that to those that are out there saying, no, it's not my job to help clean the house. It's not my job. No, like you're a team.
Yeah.
It's
a team effort.
Yeah. It's all your job.
She didn't use all that silverware.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, she didn't eat off that many plates.
Yeah.
We use paper plates at the house. It's just so much easier. But yeah, like she didn't wear your underwear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go clean it.
She's putting in the effort to go out and work and do all that as much as you are. So yeah, it's not like she needs to come home and man, that's so awesome that you take that extra initiative. That's where I'm getting at. You're taking the extra initiative so that when she comes home, she can spend more time with Lyric.
Absolutely.
She can spend more time with you and not be so stressed of trying to cram it all in.
Yeah, it goes back to where we first were talking about, like, you don't get that time back.
Yeah.
So every second, every minute, it matters.
Yeah.
You know, no matter how quick it is. If it takes me doing just a little bit of laundry while it's just me at the house, waiting on them to get home, and then everything's good to go, and all we have to do is literally just focus on each other. So much better than when she comes home, the house is a mess, and then I've been watching TV all day or something like that, and it just puts a wrench in everything. The vibe's terrible.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody wants that. So why wouldn't you just do something to help improve?
Yeah. I say that, but on the other aspect, like there's times that Kennedy and Lincoln will be home and they're wanting to play.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I got to get the dishes done, or no, let me throw this load of laundry in. No, that laundry can wait.
Absolutely.
Those dishes can wait, and I'm terrible. Like I've almost got a little bit of OCD. Like if I start something, I want to, especially if it's the dishes or, I want to get it done. But here lately, I can honestly say that like they walked up and I'm like, yeah, let's go throw football.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, let's go over here and read this book or talk or, whatever, and just put the dishes down and leave them there. And no, they can wait till later.
That is a Friday for me. Cause I get I get lyric all day on Fridays.
Okay.
Off on Fridays. Yeah. So that is when the house will always be the messiest. There's no, even if I did want to clean,
yeah,
there's no point.
Yeah.
If I pick all his toys up and put them in the bucket, 5-10 minutes later, not just the ones that he wants to play with.
Yeah.
Because there's only like 2 or 3, but there's like 50 in there and he just wants to dump them all out.
Well, just because you just put them back
it's
up.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So Fridays will always be a mess. And then Friday nights, whenever he's asleep, that's when I start picking stuff back up and then try to give us a good weekend.
Yeah.
So I love weekends. Love weekends.
I work most weekends, just the way my shift works.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's but yeah, I love that time to be able to spend with my family.
Absolutely.
And just, be with them, be present,
Mm-hmm.
and do let work and stuff of that nature get in the way sometimes. But for the most part, man, I love being with them.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I value the most. And it may be because of what we went through, and all that, that I value a little more. But for those listening, like JT said, just spend time with your family because you're not going to get it back.
No.
It's so valuable. So JT, I can't thank you enough, man, for being here, for being vulnerable, for telling your story. And, I know this is going to help so many people out by hearing these little bits and pieces. So, but if people want to dive deeper with you, is there anywhere that they can find you at, contact you through maybe social media or something like that?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or you can go to our website, ilovemygrove.com.
Okay.
And shoot me an email there.
Awesome. I'll put those links on the screen and in the show notes as well. So, but
I don't post a lot, but I will receive stuff and I'll get on there and I'll respond back if I get anything.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here, man.
No, thank you for having me, man. It was a blast.
Appreciate it.
Loved it.
I love you to death, man.
Love you, boy.
Can't
love
thank
your family,
enough.
man. Appreciate you.
Everybody go follow JT. Reach out if you want to dive deeper with him. And we want to thank y'all for being with us. Hope this has been a blessing to you. As always, we love you. We care about you. We're proud of you. Hope you have a blessed day. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Dad Show podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Dad Show podcast. Please like, review, and subscribe.